Hello and thank you for taking part in this digital drop-in for parents from Google and Parent Zone. Now these drop-ins take about 20 minutes and you can always watch them back later or share the link with your friends afterwards. Now we publish all the links on our website in the Parent Hub, or you can just save the link from your browser and pass it on. Now Tim is going to pop a link for the chat in the chat box right now. Now, this session is all about helping children to be brave and speak up when they're not sure about something online. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that in a second, but first, let me introduce myself. Now, my name's Chelsea, and we've also got our online safety expert, Tim, in the chat box too. Now, we're part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, a programme designed by Google and Parent Zone to help children aged 7 to 11 to become savvier, safer and more confident online. Now, if you're joining us live today, we are delighted to have you. And if you have got any questions or thoughts, do pop them in the chat box. Now, maybe you could start by saying hello and letting us know where you're watching from this morning. Now, if something does crop up that you don't want to put in the chat box, you can always send us an email on legends@parentzone.org.uk. That's legends@parentzone.org.uk. Now, our Be Internet Legends team is always happy to help with whatever it might be. Now, before we move on, can everybody see me okay? Now, if I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your phone or your tablet or computer, or adjusting the settings by clicking on the little cog in the bottom right and selecting quality. So, if everybody's ready, let's begin. Now, we've been supporting families throughout the pandemic, running these digital drop-ins for about a year. And we want them to be as useful as possible, so please do drop any feedback or suggestions for future topics in the chat box. Now, as I said before, today is all about helping children to be brave and to speak up. But what exactly do I mean by that, and why is it important now? During lockdown, there is lots of things you might be concerned about. Is your child using screens too much? Are they missing out on their education? Are they finding it hard being away from their friends? Now, one of the things lots of parents worry about at any time is their child having a difficult experience online? Like seeing things they shouldn't, or even doing things that could make them vulnerable to people who don't have their best interests at heart. Now, when they were going to school, your child will have been encouraged to talk about any troubles or worries with teachers or members of staff at school during circle time, or maybe in their PSHE lessons. But obviously it's trickier to do that now, so reminding them to be brave and speak to you if they're ever unsure about anything is super important. Now, there's a whole part of Be Internet Legends that'll help with this. But before I go, just let me tell you a little bit about what the programme is all about. So as I said, Tim and I are part of a team that's been teaching an internet safety programme with Google called Be Internet Legends in schools for about 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it from your children. Now, we deliver really fun interactive assemblies like this, and then teachers follow up with lessons in the classroom that are part of a full curriculum. And throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and families from afar, adding loads of additional things for you to try at home. Now, I will tell you a little bit about those later on, but there's going to be a link in the chat box in a second that'll take you to all our resources. Fantastic, thank you, Tim. Now, Be Internet Legend teaches children 5 really important internet safety pillars: how to be sharp, alert, secure, kind, and brave. Now, these pillars cover the most important things for your children to remember whenever they go online, including key digital skills, but also the kinds of behaviours that they need to remember. Now, these behaviours are really crucial because, as well as being savvy online, children need to have resilience whenever they go online and know how to get help if they need it. Now, if you want to find out more about the 5 pillars, do check out Google's Parents page, and Tim's going to pop another link in the chat for you. Now, I know that is a lot of links, but don't worry if you can't grab them all, because everything is always available on the Parent Zone website. So that's the programme as a whole. Now let's concentrate on the pillar I want to talk to you about today, and that is Be Internet Brave. So, what is Be Internet Brave and why do we call it that? Now, every pillar of the Legends Code has a phrase that goes along with it so that children can remember what they should do whenever they go online. Now, for Internet Brave, we say, when in doubt, discuss. Now, we chose that because we know children can sometimes hesitate to come forward or be nervous about asking for help, especially if they've broken one of your rules or they've done something they shouldn't have. They might think they'll lose access to their device and not be able to chat with their friends anymore. Now, Be Internet Legends reminds children that talking about their worries with a parent or another trusted adult is not only really important, it's also super brave. Now, all this might sound really obvious, but sadly, quite a few children who experience harm won't share it with anyone. In fact, around 1 in 7 people who are harmed during their childhood will never tell anyone. That's why we put so much emphasis on it and why you need to be aware of it too. Now, even though your children might find it difficult to come forward, the good news is there are loads of ways you can encourage them to share what's going on in their world. Now, in schools, they do things like circle time, which gives them a regular chance to talk about any feelings, experiences, or concerns that they might be having. And I'm sure you're doing a lot of that at the moment. So, what else can you do to encourage your child to share what's going on in their world, especially if you think they might be worried about something? Now, we'd love to know what you're doing already, so please do pop anything in the chat box you'd like to share. I'll have a look in the chat box now. Fab, loads of great links in there from Tim. Thank you very much, Tim. Now, if you do have anything to share, pop it in that chat box, but we've also got a few suggestions that I'm going to share with you now. Now, the first one is to tell them what you're seeing. Now, you might say, you look really worried and I've noticed that you're not smiling as much as you normally do. Now, this is a technique that professionals use with children, and it is really helpful. Now, sometimes children just don't have enough words to describe how they're feeling, so describing what you're seeing can really help. Now, another technique is to try something called distancing the problem. Now, the idea is you don't just focus on them, you talk about it in more general terms. So perhaps you'd say, what do you think we could do if you knew somebody was unhappy because of something that was happening online? Do you have any good ideas? Now, this one might feel really strange at first, but it does work really well. Now, it's similar to what children do when they're playing. They're working out problems with their toys and using their imaginations. Now, here's another tip, and we hope it's a really fun one. Now, the Legends Family Adventure is a 3-part animated series created by the Legends team and Aardman Animation, and those are the people behind Wallace and Gromit. Now, it follows a family of Internauts on an adventure through a virtual world called Interland. Now, the series uses storytelling to explore some quite difficult topics for children and creates a fantastic opportunity for you to talk to your children about their life online. Now, episode 1, for example, introduces a character called the Cyberbully, who's mean to the other Internauts, and one called The Fisher, who tries to trick the Legends family in giving away their personal information for a deal that's too good to be true. Now, like the last tip, you can distance the problem and encourage your child to think about what the internet should do, so that you can be sure that they'll know what to do themselves if they ever find themselves in a similar situation. Now, my next tip is related to one of the other pillars in Be Internet Legends, and this one's really helpful at a practical level. Now, it's called the secure pillar, and it's exactly what the name suggests. It's all about being secure. Be Internet Secure teaches children lots of useful techniques for protecting their stuff and themselves. Now, it's really important in this context because being brave and asking for help is super important, but you want some practical things you can do to resolve problems and stop them happening in the first place. Now, Be Internet Secure teaches children about blocking and reporting. Now, Tim's going to pop a link in the chat so you can find out a little bit more about this pillar. Now, remember to remind your child that people can't tell when they've been blocked or reported, and that they can report to other people as well if they ever feel like they can't share something with you. Now, it's a bit like teaching them what to do if they ever get lost in the street. Now, I remember when I was little, my mum used to always tell me if I got lost in the street or out and about to always go to somebody who was pushing a pram. Now, likewise, you can tell your children who to talk to if they get stuck with something online. Now, this could be an auntie maybe, or their teacher, or even an organisation like Childline. Now, Tim's popping a link in the chat with some contact details for organisations that can help children. Now, time for my final tip, and this one might sound a bit weird, but it's really worth thinking about. Now, this one's just practicing so that you have an answer ready if your child tells you something that's worrying, so you won't be caught off with a sudden emotional response that might not be the one you intend. Now, we all know that children can catch us off guard with questions, but if you have an answer ready, it shows that you're listening. And if you make it clear to them that you're pleased that they've told you something, they'll be less likely to clam up and stop talking. Now, it doesn't have to be much, just that first sentence, always ready in case you need it. Now, this could be something like, "I'm so pleased you've told me that. Let's have a think about what we can do next." Now, we've actually designed a fun activity to go along with this session and to really help with these conversations, and here it is. It's called the What Would You Do game, and it's designed to help your child practice different scenarios with you so that if they ever do have a problem online, they've got the skills they need to get help. Now, it's really simple. You just have to read each of the scenarios out loud and then ask your child, what would you do? Now, it's actually based on that distancing the subject tip I shared just a moment ago. Now, if they struggle to come up with something, we've got some suggested answers to help them out, but you'll probably have lots of your own thoughts already. And actually, the answers are less important. It's more about the discussions because there are often several ways to tackle things. Now, the idea is that your child will come away from the game understanding the core message that whatever happens online, it's really important to be brave and talk to you so that you can always help them. Because as you know, with these things, they're not just a one-off conversation. You need to return to them often. And we actually have a great activity to help with that too. Now, the Brave Artwork Challenge encourages children to make a Be Internet Brave poster, which can take pride of place on your fridge door and remind them of all the things they should do if they're not sure about something they come across online. Now you can download an activity sheet for this on our website, and Tim's going to pop the link in the chat box now. And if you're not watching this live, don't worry, just Google Be Internet Legends and you'll find all the resources and websites that you need. Now, if you do choose to do this activity, we would absolutely love to see your children's artwork. So please do share with us on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll give you the details for that in a mo. Now, talking about Be Internet Legends, I promised you I would talk about some of the extra resources that we've been developing to help you out whilst your child's out of school and everyone's homeschooling. Now, we've got a whole hub dedicated to parents, and we've created a bunch of home learning resources and activities for you to do together. Now, they're free to download, and it's all about supporting your child to be safer and more confident online. Now, if you sign up to the newsletter, we'll make sure you're the first to hear of any new activities or resources, and Tim's going to pop a link for that sign up in the chat box now. If you are looking for something to help your child be internet brave, I do recommend the What Would You Do game we talked about earlier, or the Brave Artwork Challenge. Now you can get them both now in the home learning section of the hub. Now they're really easy to print out if you've got a printer, or you can just get them up on a phone or laptop or a device and use it that way. It's all about whatever is easiest for you. And Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box. Now, Interland is another great way to get your child talking about and learning about online safety and having loads of fun at the same time. Now, it's a fab online game filled with fun challenges based on the Legends code. Now, children absolutely love it and they're really good at it too. Now, why not have a bit of a competition in your household? See who can get that highest score. Now, if you are doing that, watch out for Mindful Mountain because it is super, super tricky. Now, we've already talked about this one, but it's so special, we wanted to mention it again. Google, Parent Zone and Aardman are inviting you to embark on the Legends Family Adventure, a 3-part animated series that follows a family of internauts on an adventure through Interland. Now, keep your eye on the chat for a link. Now, it can be a great conversation starter to chat about anything that comes up in Be Internet Legend pillars, from brave to alert to sharp, secure and kind. And there are loads more digital drop-ins too, and they aren't all about being internet brave. We cover everything from protecting personal information and sharing carefully to cyberbullying and being internet kind. Now, there's a big list of our upcoming dates on our Parents Hub, and Tim will pop a link for that timetable in the chat box now. And feel free to share that link with your friends as well so they can join us for a digital drop-in. And remember, if you've got any suggestions of topics you'd like us to cover, please let us know. Now, we are coming up to the end of our session. If you do think other parents might find this useful, we would absolutely love it if you could pass on the link. Now, simply copy the URL above and paste it into a message or a social media post. It's available to watch at any time, and we want to spread the word of Be Internet Legends to everyone. Now, that's everything from me. Tim's going to share a link to a survey in the chat box. It'll take about 30 seconds to fill in, and it just helps us to know what you thought of this digital drop-in and give us some ideas on how we can make them better. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us via Instagram or email. All the details are on the screen now. We'd love to see any brave artwork that your children create, and we're always happy to hear from you. Now remember, there is no such thing as a bad question. If you are concerned about a child, we are here to help. Now, just before I go, I'm going to have a little look in the chat box. Fab, yeah, Tim's popped all the links in there. So if you wanted to, you could copy and paste those down and check them all out when you've got time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you soon at another one of our drop-ins. Bye! Oh, still here. Bye!